Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and a coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. Because, friend, it's not if but when, so you need to understand crisis communication sooner than later. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out, debsofield.com. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear, my latest, soon-to-be best-selling book, Perfecting Your Platform, are both on Amazon and Audible for those of you who like to listen. My book series, Encouragement for Your Life, is a compilation of these podcasts. They're all available on Amazon. Just go to Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, and all my books will appear. I've got a great theme today, and although it seems rather simple, it's true. Friend, I'm going to talk about a place called success. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. I'm sure you know this by now if you've been in business or just life, that the road to success is really just not straight. There's a curve called failure, a loop called confusion, speed bumps called friends, red lights called enemies, caution lights called family. You will have flat tires called jobs, but if you have a spare called determination, an engine called perseverance, and a driver called willpower, you can make it to a place called success. And that's my theme for today. I came across this quote a while back, and I've wanted to use it for some time, but the time never seemed right until now. Because when you think about your ability to draw upon your determination, your perseverance, your willpower, all of these, or any one of these 3 personality traits, can be the key to your success. I know I talk a lot about finding success in your life, and the reason I do that is because, frankly, I don't see or hear that in today's news, or really from anyone on TV or any radio station, whether it be talk or religious. The idea of being inspired isn't so popular nowadays because just talking about inspiration and not putting a plan in place, well, it's just talk. And we all know how far that gets you. And if you don't know, the answer is nowhere. There was a time when the chatter of inspiration was all the rage. But with anything that is not based on personal self-determination, perseverance, or willpower, success will be hard to find. But never fear, there is a way through. And that way is by doing the one thing most of us avoid, and that is work. I said it, hard work. I was having lunch with a friend the other day. In the course of our conversation, he told me about how he did all these good deeds for others and spent hours helping many worthy nonprofit groups. And in the end, no one offered him a job. He barely got a thank you for his hours of service. So now, as he said, Deb, what should I do? Well, I suggested that first, he stop giving away all of his time without pay. And second, and I hate to say it, he's got to go back to work again. Why? Because the road to success is not straight. There's a curve called failure, a loop called confusion, speed bumps called friends, red lights called enemies, caution lights called family. And you will have flat tires called jobs. So you will have to find within yourself the belief that you can continue to move forward no matter how tired, broken, or lonely you are. Most of us understood growing up that success was something you found along the way while doing your job or your work. What we didn't count on was a curve called failure. Our parents might have warned us that we might fail, but for most of us, that conversation never really took place because our parents wanted more for us than what they had. And they were taught not to talk about failure, but to be positive with their kids and not burden them with the hardships of life. Bless the baby boomers who really tried to see the glass half full. I, for one, appreciate that. Growing up, I never had to deal with the idea of a loop called confusion. I guess being the youngest and having all brothers who lived life in black and white left little room for misunderstanding at my house. I knew at a young age that going in circles was not a great way to live my life, so I was taught to make a decision and stick with it, unless it was the wrong direction, and then make a change and stick with that. Unlike many of my peers who would spin on small issues that made them go in circles, whether it was a boyfriend or school or a family issue, they would get all worked up and, in my opinion, be somewhat unreasonable in their emotions, allowing their current emotional state to be their guide, which, as you can well imagine, didn't serve them very well. The problem with a loop called confusion is it's hard to know how to exit the loop and set your course. If you're in a loop of confusion now, let me encourage you to do a few things. Number 1, slow down so you can exit. Number 2, take the exit. 3, pull over and stop and think about the direction you really want to go. And 4, set your GPS towards your new location. Friend, don't circle in confusion anymore. You're simply wasting time and energy. In today's quote, we're told that in life, you will have speed bumps called friends. Even in the best of times, good friends will go missing, which is odd since I expect them to go packing when things get hard, but not so much when things are good. When friends don't encourage you or are not fully happy for your success, or do not reach out occasionally to make sure you're okay, you've got some choices to make. You can find new friends who will have your back, or you can reach back out to your friends to re-engage. You make the choice to think about them as a speed bump or a freeway. Think long and hard about those who slow you down to a stop in your life, or those friends who encourage you to speed up and keep going. Now, what most of us learned at a young age was that no matter how hard you tried, you would occasionally come across someone who would end up being an enemy. When you're a kid, the enemy was either sports team or rival high school or even a school bully. But as we progress in life, many have come to learn that some people are hell-bent on being an enemy, and there's nothing you can do about it, but avoid them at all cost. I've been in politics a long time, and I've had a few folks who were not my friends. And as I watched them do whatever they could to cause me harm, and some did, well, sometimes I could block their hateful actions and sometimes I could not because they would do it under the guise of inclusion or whatever politically correct term was in vogue at that time. Yes, they caused great harm, and yes, they knew what they were doing. But sadly, they didn't care. So I live by the words of the great Winston Churchill who said, "You have enemies? Good! That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. So for the record, stay away from hateful people. Let them be someone else's enemy and not yours." Now, I need to tread lightly as I talk about the caution light we call family. Ah, family. The people who are supposed to have your back. The tribe you're a part of. The people you look like. And yet sometimes they can be the worst people you will ever associate with. If I had a nickel for every story I hear about how family members will steal and lie and cheat other family members over money, property, or the family dishes, silver, and jewelry, how family members will say the meanest things and act like they're doing it for your good. For the record, it's not good, so don't listen to them. They're psycho. They say you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And while that's true, you don't have to be bound to your tribe if they are not positive or healthy or loving. There is no law that says you have to put up with meanness. You can love from a distance, and you can send good wishes from another state. Friend, please hear me. Sometimes you need to protect yourself, so use every caution available, even with family. Let me quickly talk about your job. Is it a flat tire? Are you dying on the vine? Is it drudgery? Are you bored? Well, only you can make that change. There's nothing worse than having to go to work and not liking what you do. So let me ask, should you start looking, networking, and talking to those in fields where your interests lie? If you feel like your job is a flat tire, I would ask that you think about making a change or at least taking a chance. I gotta say, I had the best email the other day from a great young lady I used to coach at church basketball. She said this: "Hey Deb, I want to personally invite you to the ribbon cutting ceremony of my new business on Main Street. I've been listening to your podcast every Tuesday, and you've actually inspired me to live my best life ever. And I had been contemplating on making a move back into the art world, but I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. I knew that I would be successful at anything I did that I was passionate about, but I was at the point where I needed to take action on it and not just talk about it. And then, one day, there was a perfect opportunity available to me, and I took it. And I'm so glad that every day I get to surround myself with art, talk about art, and be my own boss. If it wasn't for listening to your show, I might not have been at the right place to jump on this opportunity. So come by the gallery so I can give you a tour and personally thank you for helping me with my journey." Wow, you have got to know how that made me feel. Not only because I'm so proud of her, but because she fully understands the thought for today that the road to success is just not straight. There will be failure, confusion, speed bumps, red lights, caution lights. But friends, she had the courage to change her flat tire because she had a spare called determination, an engine called perseverance, a driver called willpower. And there's no doubt she will make it to a great place called success. And friends, if she can do it, you can too. And that's my hope and prayer for you. Have to say, I love today's message. I think it is so important because, friends, it happens in life. And I want you to understand that you can make a change because, frankly, you're the only one that can step up to the plate and swing. All right, I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for spending these few minutes with me. I want to thank you for listening weekly to this radio show podcast because I want you to understand that you can have an amazing life. And so I hope you'll join me next week so we can continue our journey together as we work towards a better day. And remember, I don't care what the world says. I want you to know that I care about you. I care about you because I believe you can do big things. And I'm going to walk alongside you as we follow that dream together. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.